This is your reminder that the BBC has yet to address the consistent transphobic leanings in its news coverage, and while the team behind Doctor Who is not connected to this in any way since this is a BBC-owned property, I'm going to keep pointing it out until the problem gets resolved. Links in a pinned comment below if you don't know what I'm talking about. I'll stop saying it when it stops being a problem. Happy anniversary, Doctor. Let's talk about when you were at your best. Yes, folks, today marks the 60th anniversary of Doctor Who. And as the last few years have done, there has been a collaboration of sorts between a number of different creators to organize things celebrating the moment. This has been done before with celebrations specifically of the 9th Doctor, of the 13th Doctor, and this one is meant to cover the whole thing. This is my pick for one diamond story. Playlist to all the rest will be down in the description. The episode I'm going to talk about is one that I've praised before, but I want to really narrow the focus this time. I really want to zoom in on the Doctor himself. I'm going to talk about The Doctor Falls, the series finale from Series 10, and the second to last episode for Peter Capaldi's 12th Doctor, my favorite Doctor. I have a lot of great things to say about this episode, but as I said, I want to narrow the focus. So while there is plenty to praise outside of what I'm going to be talking about, there is Pearl Mackey's performance as Bill Potts, which is wonderful and emotional and cathartic. There is some fantastic sass from Matt Lucas as Nardole. There's a really great dynamic between John Sim Master and Michelle Gomez as Missy. There's really great tension with the oncoming threat of the Cybermen. It's got a hell of a cliffhanger, but no. Take all that as a given. I want to focus on the Doctor himself, and I want to talk about the fact that the Doctor, specifically as portrayed in this story, is my platonic ideal of the Doctor. And it's not just because it's Peter Capaldi, who is my favorite Doctor, but this episode specifically, this is where he's been building to. This is where he has been finding himself up to this point, and this is where he says plainly, perfectly, in my view, who the Doctor is and who the Doctor, I feel, always should be. No matter whatever else is going on with personality or shifts in approach or whatever else happens with any given generation, the heart and soul of what I love about the Doctor and what I want to see in the character is in this episode, on full display, and it's gorgeous. So let's zero in on the Doctor himself. I'm not going to go through this episode beat for beat. It's not a plot synopsis. If you haven't rewatched it lately, I would encourage you to do so. But understand, I'm not giving you plot details. I'm going on character focus here. Right at the start, we have an emphasis on the Doctor sorting things out through cunning, through machinations, through being smarter. As he himself points out,
you two, we should know by now when you're winning, and I'm in the room. You're missing something.
There's a few other key moments at the start of the episode. There is his still having some hope for Missy. He's seeing her being influenced into the worst version of herself by the John Sim Master, but he also sees that glimmer of hope, and he needs to know if there's any reason for him to actually continue to hold on to that hope. And he wants to, you can tell.
I'm secretly on your side all along, you silly sausage.
Is that true?
Don't spoil the moment.
Seriously, I need to know, is that true?
But he's also realistic. He does hope. Usually, mostly. We'll get to that a little bit later. But he's not blinded by it. He needs to know if there's something really there. But reminding us that that hope that he has for Missy, arguably for the Master in any incarnation, but he already knows he can't help the John Sim incarnation at this point. That hope, that's important. And then there's what he says to Bill, who has been converted into a Cyberman.
I will fix this. How can
So let's talk about Bill a little bit. This isn't a character focus, but this is important. This is relevant to the Doctor. Most of what we see of Bill in this episode is Bill as portrayed by Pearl Mackie. We only see Bill as the Cyberman occasionally, and we hear her speak as that pretty rarely.
I am not upset.
Now, there is a practical and meta reason for why this is the case. You want to make proper use of your actor, and you want to give Pearl Mackie a proper send-off. So, yeah, you're going to have her like this. But there's the internal machinations of this is how she sees herself, which they validate with this whole intro scene with her with the mirror. But it's not just that this is how she is choosing to see herself. This is how the Doctor sees her. He never falters. He never treats her any different than he ever has. And it's interesting to note that when the John Sim Master comes up to try and belittle her, during that exchange, she appears as the Cyberman. But as soon as he walks away and the focus is just on Bill and the Doctor again, then she's Bill. The Doctor sees her as she always has been. As they walk, we get this glimpse of the Doctor holding back regeneration energy. This is another thing very key to the Doctor. He prioritizes other people's safety over his own. This is not the first incarnation in which we've seen this. In fact, there have been times when this specific thing has resulted in the situations that caused the Doctor to regenerate in the first place. We've seen that with 10. We've seen that with 5. We've seen that with a number of them. But here, it's not being held up as the key to why he'll regenerate later. It's taken as a given. He's actively dying right now. But he can't. Because there's work to do and there's people to help. No time to die, too much to do. Because he has to help. Because he's the Doctor. And then there's the exchange between him and Bill, where she reminds him that he said he would fix her.
Did you say that?
I did say that, yes.
Were you lying?
No.
Were you right?
No.
Both of those answers are so important because, no, he wasn't lying. He didn't just say it to placate her. He said it because he truly believed that he could do something. But he was also wrong. He didn't lie when he said he could fix it, and he's not going to lie now when he knows that he can't. This is what any good Doctor should do. Give their all towards helping. Go in assuming that they can help, that they can fix it. Not treat it as doom and gloom, but to go in and think, I can help, I can fix this. But also deal with the reality when they can't. And then the Doctor has this line.
Where there's tears, there's hope.
He's always looking for hope in others. Hope to have in others and hope that others can cling to. Not necessarily for himself. Hold on to that. We'll come back to it. And then there is, to me, what is the thing I will always keep coming back to as the core and the heart and the perfect encapsulation of who the Doctor is and should be always. And I have never heard it said better than the scene in which the 12th Doctor confronts the Missy and the John Sim Master. At every stage of this confrontation, there are great, amazing lines that sum up the Doctor.
It's the best I can do, so I'm doing it. Do you have a problem with that?
You can't win.
I know, and?
And I wish that I could just play you this scene pretty much unbroken, but it's YouTube and I can't use clips that long, so it's going to be chopped up and I'm going to have to interrupt, but it's so good.
I'm not trying to win. I'm not doing this because I want to beat someone, because I hate someone, or because I want to blame someone.
He has multiple statements of purpose. There's this one.
God knows it's not because it's easy. It's not even because it works, because it hardly ever does.
This is not about winning. This is not about defeating anybody. This is about helping in any way that he can.
But it's the best I can do. So I'm going to do it, and I will stand here doing it till it kills me. You're going to die too.
And of course, this.
I do what I do because it's right. Because it's decent. And above all, it's kind.
That's what he is. for all his gruffness, all of his short-temperedness, all of his insulting people, which the 12th Doctor in particular does a lot. He is there to be kind, to offer kindness and help and hope, even when there may not be any to be had. He can still try. He can still help some people live just a little longer, hold on to hope just a little longer, because that's a kindness.
It's just that. Just kind.
And he can do that, and he can give them that, even as he is actively dying. Then there's what he says as he gets ready to deal with the oncoming threat of the Cybermen.
Without hope. Without witness. Without reward.
You don't do it for a reward. You don't do it so people see you as a good person. You don't even necessarily do it because you have any hope that it'll help. Because as I said, the Doctor cares a lot about hope in other people, that they have it, that they hold on to it, that they don't let go of it, that he can help them keep it. But he knows that he has to move forward without necessarily having hope for himself. Of course, he says that, but he does still have some hopes.
No stars. I hope there be stars.
And he does still fight back for himself. Which brings us to the last thing that I think is very important for the Doctor. Because all of this just sounds incredibly selfless. And while it is, in my mind, important for the Doctor to prioritize others, to help in any way if he can, but the Doctor is not the ultimate altruist. He would be very boring if he was. He does care about who he is, and in this incarnation specifically, who he has fought so hard to become. I did an extensive video previously talking about the character arc of this Doctor. I did it through a queer reading, which is not to say that I am interpreting this Doctor as queer, but his journey speaks to me very much as a queer person. In Series 8, he was trying to figure himself out, asking the question,
Am I a good man?
Don't know.
Neither do I.
He spends Series 9 thinking he's figured out who he is and being, frankly, too brazen, too cavalier, and it ends in tragedy. And he spends Series 10 finding the balance, finally being who he's supposed to be, who he has fought to be, who he wants to be. And he doesn't want to change.
I don't want to change again. Never again!
He fought so hard to get here, to be who he is.
I can't keep on being somebody else.
He's not completely selfless. He believes in the kindness of what he does. But he does care about himself. He cares about what he has fought for, about what he can do and bring and be. And he is afraid to lose that when the time comes.
I'm staying.
This mix, this blend of being so smart, so quick-witted, so fast to offer help, even when he doesn't know for certain that he can do much of anything. But he can do something, the tiniest thing, to save a few people for a few minutes. If he can do that, he will. But he's not Space Jesus. He's not the ultimate altruist. He's not completely selfless. He has layers. He has ego. He's a person. For all his kindness, for all of his emphatic caring about other people, there's also himself. And that gives him the depth, the layers that help make him, her, them, whatever incarnation, so amazing. And while I love most incarnations of the Doctor, I found something to like in pretty much all of them. Some I like more than others. Some of them I love deeply. I don't think there has ever been a story that has ever perfectly encapsulated what is, for me, the essence of who the Doctor is and who I always want them to remain at the heart of however they are. One diamond story on a diamond anniversary. The Doctor falls. That might be the title. But the Doctor shines bright in this one. And I love it. And I hope that I could share with you some of that love for this episode, for this character, for this show. 60 years is a hell of a run. I hope it does not end anytime soon. And I hope you've enjoyed this. Check out the other videos in the playlist. As for my own work, Patreon is how I'm able to do this as my living. Even if you can't help me out that way, like, share, subscribe, you know, all this stuff. But what I want you to remember, you are beautiful, you are valid, and you are loved. You are the council. I am only running the meetings. And until next time, this council is adjourned. Time to thank some patrons, and this time I'm going to say their names as if I'm greeting them, welcoming them to a party. Robin Moore, Zuman Lafula, Goddess Elida, Turok, the thing that goes don't get in the anime, Ruth, Gozer the Gozerian, Oliver B, Solitary Pictures, Ulrich Bogdan, Melinda Walters, Jen, Auntie Kate 808, Becky Sparks, Phenomenalx the Poodle, Robin Powell, T Love, Tracy Scrabbit, Angry Casperl, Dave Hall, Rosalind Bennett. Have fun tonight, and thank you for your support. I don't know why I decided to do that this time, but I don't know. I'm having fun.